point, is to watch it multiple times and kind of decipher what exactly he's trying to say. But at the same time, I really respected it because even with Drive and then this one, you kind of see him understanding the perspective of women a little better, with Carey Mulligan's very strong performance, and she's a little bit more fleshed out than the rest of the women, the one-dimensional women of his the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
So I really like that. And then with Kristen Scott Thomas as as Gosling's mom and the kind of the head of this huge drug ring, you know what I mean? She has this power, and yeah, she's a bad person, but she has layers there, and is kind of someone who you're kind of scared of,
right?
You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is not something you see in Hollywood very much anymore. So I really like that. I really liked how he set up his mythology, where the main cop doesn't have a lot of dialogue, and it's almost like he is in a sense God, and he goes around and he kind of corrects things that he thinks are wrong, and that's why Gosling's family, his brother, is he murders and molests this underage woman or little girl, and that's what kind of brings these two together. And it turns into, instead of Gosling avenging his brother's death, he realizes that he did something terrible, and that he deserved what he got, and then it becomes this kind of journey into Gosling searching for his own religion, and ultimately he takes on the what he thinks is the cops' religion, or I guess the symbolism of Bangkok,
right?
In a way, towards the end, which a lot of people I don't think get, or they are too lazy to interpret it. I know it is very, very artsy. Again, aesthetically very beautiful with the lights. I think it's very well acted. A lot of crazy violence, but again, it's very spaced out and very, very polarizing. Yeah, a lot more polarizing than Drive. Right.
I would say that was really the first one that tore people apart. When it premiered, I think it premiered at Cannes, but it was just like, oh my god, this is trash, or whatever. Like first reactions, which it was like a 50-50 split, and that's how I feel like everything he's gonna put out now is everything's just gonna connect with some people and it's not gonna connect with other people.
But it's very strange for me that people would be so harsh on this, because it feels very authentic to what he does. It's almost like, how could you not expect him to do something like this?
Right.
Because he's always been someone who pushes the envelope and tries to outdo himself, and kind of streamline as far away as his last project as he can. So, given what we knew about the film and where it was going to be set, it was kind of like it was like a no-brainer that it would be something kind of far off and weird and leave you kind of cringing a little bit. I think that was, his intentions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, always, just expect that from him, especially with new content in this new series. Like, it's just going to be bananas. Like, I don't even know what I'm gonna get, really, which is insane. And to kind of wrap up Only God Forgives, it's like like what you were saying at the end. Gosling's character is redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
There is that sense of redemption, and his penance is like, he loses his hands, which his whole life is his hands. And
yeah,
it's
because
made clear. Yeah, it's made clear in the film that because he
runs the Muay Thai boxing ring,
right.
which is like the front for the drugs, and
mm-hmm.
and he's supposed to be which I failed to bring up, but he's supposed to be this intense, like, super good fighter.
Right.
And then, he challenges the cop to a fight, basically, to redeem his brother, and he just gets the living shit beat out of him, and can't even lay a hand on the dude. So,
right.
It's very, very... It's very, very interesting, and I definitely agree with you where people who maybe didn't understand it or hated it should probably give this another chance.
Yeah, try it again. Just put it on. It's probably on Netflix or something.
There's a beautiful score again. Cliff Martinez.
One of his best, I would say.
Yeah.
And that film is one of my favorites of Refn. Of like the 10 movies I think that he's made, actual films. I always think about it when he got produced. And then then the Neon Demon came out. That one is even more polarizing. That one my girlfriend absolutely hated. Like,
really?
Yeah, she'll never watch that movie again. That's how it is. I feel like I should have just expected that when I took her to see that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know what you're going to get with him. So with the Neon Demon, to me, it's like he's the first time he actually approached a different kind of world,
mm-hmm.
The fashion industry, but in his very like localized, centralized vision. Like that's obviously the industry is not like that. I mean, some parts of it are, but it's not that crazy. Yeah, I mean, maybe it is. I don't know.
I feel like because I went to go see this right away.
Yeah,
of course,
same.
being a big fan, but I almost expected it to be like what it is, a horror film set in the fashion world, and of course you're not gonna get this like fairy tale type of deal. So there is this kind of sense of dread and weirdness throughout it. Our main character Jessie is underage, and they fucking hide that to kind of exploit her beauty.
Right.
So right there is always like it's already like, whoa, red flag, this is crazy. And by that point nothing's really happened that's bad.
Right.
And I really love the movie, and I think by the time that you get to the end it closes up. And it's very slow, the way that you would expect any of his films to be. He takes his time, and he's very like, how do you say, like, like Lynch or even Coppola.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Coppola, or you can definitely see his influences throughout all his work, but. For people because I feel like they really hated on Neon Demon, and I don't see why. And I can understand, that's not how the industry is, blah, blah, blah. But you have to kind of do this thing that I thought a lot more people knew about, called suspension of disbelief, where you need to, put yourself in the perspective of Refn and just kind of take that ride and set aside what you know about whatever, his plot is based around. Yeah. So if you're from the fashion industry, you should set that aside and kind of watch it for what it is and his interpretation of it. And to me, his moral of this story is to basically show you that it's kind of attacking the media and the fashion of our world today, and how what we're how we're kind of hurting people by how do you say, like what we perceive beauty to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that becomes this staple of everybody needs to be like this, and that's why it turns into, in a sense, cannibalism. In a way,
right,
where everybody, the sharks come out to feed, in a sense, in after this young lady is hugely successful and everybody pays attention to her, and they want what she has, and in a way, like, symbolically, that it definitely it does make sense.
Yeah.
As far as how the fashion world is now, and in modeling and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I really like it.
that's a really good point. A lot of people don't see it that way. You're 100% correct. The first time I watched The Neon Demon, aside from my girlfriend loathing it, just trying to understand what the central themes to this film are, and it's easily narcissism, and it's easily obsession. But there's in a horror film there's fear. There's gonna be in his horror films there's gonna be violence, and there is, and then trying to find the relatability or how to relate to these characters, but the strongest part for the Neon Demon to me is his character work. To me, his character work is really fleshed out in this film.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't a film that's super packed with dialogue, but it definitely has more than Drive and Only God Forgives.
Yeah.
So I think he was, he's made what he wanted to make, but I think with him and Amazon partnering up in this film, I think they were trying to get more of a crowd to come see this movie because it was marketed as a horror film.
Yeah.
It had these incredible actors, Elle Fanning, Christine Hendricks, Keanu Reeves,
Jenna Malone.
Yeah, Jenna Malone, who's so good in that movie.
Yeah.
It's insane. And I'm glad she's back for the show. I can't wait to see Jenna Malone. But, and even, I'm forgetting his name, but he was the head of the Runway show. Oh gosh, he's such a good actor. But he's so good. He's when they're in the booths.
Oh yeah, and he's not paying attention, where he's not when they first hire Jesse. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so good. His monologue is really good too. But they're all all of them. They're all narcissistic, and they're all again feeding into their own egos, which is common in all of his work, But this time he's dealing with women, and I like the process that he put himself in pre-production. He wanted to surround himself. He wanted to have a female crew. He hired a female writer who I think helped co-write the film with him.
There's two other
people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A female DP, which is great. Great for the perspective of the camera. You get a different eye line, but it is ultimately his film, so he has full command. So it is a Nick Refn film.
Yeah.
But I liked that part of it, and I also think that it's an interesting step in his career, coming from all of his other work, because everything is so centered around men.
Mm-hmm.
In all of his worlds. So getting the Neon Demon is really a fresh perspective too for him, and I think he can only move up from the Neon Demon. I think it's definitely it was a first for him, and I think the reasoning for why he wanted to make that movie was because of his family. I think his wife and his two daughters, just always being surrounded by them, and I forget what he said, but he always says some weird thing, and he's this is why I'm making this now or whatever. But I think it was something along the lines of just being surrounded by them every day and surrounded by their beauty and what that does to people and stuff like that. So along with media, what that does to people, social media. Not that was a big play in the movie, but if it were, I feel it's just getting crazier especially with models and fashion and influencers on Instagram or whatever. Like,
it's so more accessible to become a celebrity,
yeah,
like overnight,
right,
with social media,
and it's just because of your face,
yeah,
you know, it's just because or your body or whatever, it
yeah,
is, you know, like
yeah,
you're just selling yourself, and
exactly.
that's what it is. And I think again, just with Neon Demon and Only God Forgives, like if you weren't too hot on it the first time watching it,